Growing up in high school, I worked in a coffee shop on the Erie Canal in upstate New York, and one of my favorite sandwiches that we served there was a roasted zucchini and summer squash sandwich. And every time summer rolls around and vegetables start coming in, I get a craving for this delicious sandwich. So I've made my version a little healthier. We used a lot of pesto and a lot of mozzarella, both of which I love, but can add up the calories pretty quickly. So I've made a healthier version here. It's a great way to use up summer's fresh vegetables, and it's very delicious, very filling, but very low in calories. So what I'm doing, I'm just starting with a summer squash and a zucchini, and I'm cutting them into little coins. So fairly thin, maybe about, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch. I don't really measure. About the thickness of a quarter maybe. So slicing them fairly thin and then putting them on a cookie sheet. They're going to go into the oven at 350 degrees and they'll stay in there for 15 minutes. You might be able to see here when I hold this up, I put mine on parchment paper. You can also put it on foil. There's no reason to do that other than it's less cleanup later on my cookie sheet, so it's kind of just me being lazy, but it definitely makes cleanup a little bit easier. So just cut your veggies up into coins, lay them out evenly on your sheet. And then we're going to spray the whole thing down with some olive oil and season it with pepper. Just really simple ingredients. So this is my olive oil spray. Just a little bit of spray. Our original version involved shaking them in olive oil, which, you know, olive oil is healthy, but can get a lot of calories that way. And then just some fresh ground pepper or any other kind of seasoning if you have Mrs. Dash's, any other kind of herb and spice that you want on it. Just pretty simple. So into the oven at 350 for 15 minutes. This is gonna go. And fortunately for you, I already put one in, so you don't have to wait 15 minutes to see. This is what they look like after 15 minutes in the oven. I think you can see that there. Basically, I'm just kind of looking for the ends of the veggies to kind of start curling up there. And then in my toaster oven, I again have Thomas's whole grain, 100% whole wheat English muffin, 120 calories, and a good source of fiber, 3 grams of fiber. And you can tell it's whole grain from that little symbol right there. So I love these, even though they're an extra 20 calories, you get 3 grams of fiber. And you know, when you look at the ingredients, the first ingredient listed there is whole grain. So we're using that. That's my bread. And then again, I'm using my favorite cheese, Laughing Cow cheese. These are 35 calories per wedge. And this is just a creamy Swiss cheese. And this time I'm going to use the whole Laughing Cow. I know my breakfast sandwich I use about half of the Laughing Cow, but when we made these in my coffee shop, we used tons of gooey mozzarella, and they were so yummy. But as you can imagine, calories stack up pretty quickly when you use 3 or 4 ounces of cheese on one sandwich. Or at least that's how I made them. I was 18, so I didn't really know any better. I can claim that, right? And instead of pesto, I'm just going to go straight to the source and use fresh basil. So this is my basil plant here. You can buy basil in the store like this, or if you're fortunate enough to grow it in your garden, you'll probably find me in your backyard picking it sometime. And I love basil, so I'm going to put 3 leaves on here. That packs a ton of flavor, so it's kind of up to you how much you want. So I'm just smushing my basil on top of my cheese there. And then your veggies just get stacked on top. And really, because these vegetables are so low in calories, all they have is a little bit of that olive oil spray on them. Really, the only calories that you're getting are from the English muffin and the cheese and a little bit of the olive oil. So you can really make this a really, really thick stacked sandwich. And I always tell people that we eat with our eyes. And so much of our satisfaction when we sit down to eat something is what we see. So if you see this big, huge, stacked up sandwich, you kind of get this mindset like, oh, this is a lot of food. I'm really going to be full. Whereas, you know, if you see this little tiny meager portion, you kind of prepare yourself to feel hungry after you're finished eating. So that's the great thing about vegetables. You can make this big stacked sandwich, and what we say, this is about 150 calories plus or minus. So, it was so good. And you can't trust anyone's cooking who doesn't eat their food, so I'm proving it to you here. I hope you can find just as healthy and wonderful a way to enjoy the produce of this season.